We are back here on the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. I am thrilled to have Marimba Milliones as my guest today. She's the president and CEO of the Hill CDC. We're talking about the whole notion, not only about what's happening on the Hill, but how it got to this point and what community development entails. And I think this is an important conversation, Marimba, because for a lot of people, they feel like they gave up on the Hill and development possibilities without understanding how all of these pieces come together.
Right. No, it's such an important conversation. And I don't think we give enough time to that conversation. A lot of folks are just like, I'll take development by any means necessary. What they don't understand in many cases is that they themselves will be displaced in 5 to 10 years. And so when you understand how real estate and development and marketplaces work, you can appreciate the long game a little bit more. And so we have been very intentional about taking the community's hopes and visions for itself that are captured in our master plan, that are captured in our Center Avenue redevelopment plan, and going about the business of creating an environment where that vision can become a reality over the long term, not just a mirage, right? Or something that people put in front of you for a couple of years and then you're displaced, but something that will endure over time. And so it does take a little more time. But at the end of the day, I always remind folks that 70% of the vacant land is publicly owned. It's owned by the city, it's owned by the URA, or it's owned by the Housing Authority of the city of Pittsburgh. And so it's really about us urging those bodies to make sure that the development is happening in a way that builds upon the community's vision for itself. And I think that you're seeing some of that activity. We've been nudging at it for quite some time. We're beginning to see that activity and that momentum. And some of the things are coming out in the wash, right? Some of the things that are possible, some of the things that are not possible. But at the end of the day, it is the Hill District's time, and I'm very excited about that.
Well, it is. And I mean, even when I think about, and I like you, I mean, I've always known the new Granada Theater building. To the best of my recollection, it's never operated as a theater in the course of my lifetime. Although it may have when I was like a little tiny girl, but I've never been there. Anyway, you had different kind of challenges because first of all, this was a building that sat there forever and you had to shore up, you had to secure that building. It's a different process.
Yeah, so that building, I started at the CDC as a volunteer on the board, and I did a lot of the early work that was done as a volunteer. I didn't become a staff person for the organization until 2011, right? Wow, but my involvement, spans a long time before that. And before that, what the focus of the organization was to secure money to just stabilize it, to just save it, because it was at risk of being lost. And so we were able to secure funding from the state. And thanks to Representative Wheatley's leadership, we were able to secure support from the Hines Endowments. We were able to secure support from Pittsburgh History and Landmarks Foundation to stabilize and secure the structure. Now, here's the thing, and once again, community development. What do you put in a 40,000 square foot building where there's no other retail around and not enough residential density to support a commercial development, right? It's not the easiest thing to go out and get a loan for development of that size and scale. It takes time, it takes creativity, it takes massive fundraising. This whole block is a $60 million development. Wow. And I think that we as a community have to embrace that's more than is happening in some market rate communities, right? In most cases. And so this is going to have housing, it's going to have retail, it's going to have affordable space for residential units, it's going to be affordable for commercial, retail space, it's going to be 20,000 square feet of community engagement space for the University of Pittsburgh, it's going to be a multi-purpose event space, it's going to be a food hall with foods of the African diaspora. So if you've watched High on the Hog, you know what I'm talking about, Creole, soul food, Brazilian, Jamaican, right? So the best jerk chicken in the city, the best collard greens in the city. So, really curating that space is critically important. And then lastly, a brand new office building that will sit between the historic building and the Family Dollar will be built right there and attached to the historic building. And so the University of Pittsburgh's Community Engagement Center will take 20,000 square feet across the top of both floors. There'll be a rooftop venue with a full kitchen. So right now we're tendering and cultivating food businesses who want to locate in the space. We have 9 locations for food businesses. And that's amazing because right now we have really one sit-down restaurant in the primary, part of the Hill District. And we love that restaurant and we want to continue to support that. Shout out to Grandma B's, but we need other food options as well. Right. And well, we now have Community Cares Cafe. So shout out to the Graysons too on that. But the point of the matter is, for a neighborhood of our size, an 1,100 acre neighborhood, a neighborhood of our size, we should have a very broad range of shopping options, and that includes food. So we're really excited about getting people to sign up for our commercial business registry list called HD Rising. They can find that at hilldistrict.org/HD Rising, where they can say, I want my ticket in line to become a business in the Hill District. And so we're really trying to do our very best to get folks in the pipeline so that they can land there, because in a few years, they're going to say, why didn't I do it? Why didn't I do it? Yeah. So that's why I call myself an evangelist, Lynne. Everybody's going to hear the gospel at least once. Everybody's going to hear it once. Now, whether or not you take it and do something with it is up to you.
Right, exactly. So we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, then I want to talk about, because this then, when you said earlier, this is the Hill District's time, it is so clear what that means, but I want to be real specific for folks. We'll talk about that when we come back. Don't go away when the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show continues.